Education gives us a knowledge of the world around us and changes it into something better. It develops in us a perspective of looking at life and building opinions and have a point of view on things in life. It improves one's knowledge, skills, and develops the personality and attitude of the person. And moreover, it helps in earning and fulfilling the basic needs of life. Therefore, the right to education has been recognized as a human right, a basic human right, in a number of international conventions. Therefore, the right to education in India ensures that every child has his or her right to get quality elementary education. In India, the Right to Education Act aims at reaching to the unreached and disadvantaged groups with providing specific provisions of free and compulsory education for every child who is above 6 years of age and has not been admitted to any school or though admitted could not completed his or her education. Then he or she shall be admitted in a class appropriate to his or her age. Article 21A declares that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may determine. So, this provision makes only elementary education a fundamental right and not higher or professional education. And this provision was added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. So this Amendment Act is a major milestone in the country's aim to achieve education for all. The government described this step as the dawn of the second revolution in the chapter of rights of citizens. And even before this amendment, the Constitution contained a provision for free and compulsory education for children under Article 45 in Part 4th, but however, being a directive principle of state policy, it was not enforceable by the courts. So therefore now there is a scope of judicial intervention in this regard of education. Therefore, this amendment has changed the subject matter of Article 45 in Directive Principle of State Policy, and it now reads that the state shall endeavour to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they complete the age of 6 years, and it also added a new fundamental duty under Article 51A that reads, it shall be the duty of every citizen of India who is a parent or a guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child or ward between the age of 6 to 14 years. In 1993 itself, the Supreme Court recognized a fundamental right to primary education in the right to life under Article 21. It held that every child or citizen of this country has a right to free education until he completes the age of 14 years. Thereafter, his right to education is subject to the limits of economic capacity and development of the state. So basically in this judgment, the court overruled its earlier judgment that was taken up in 1992, which declared that there was a fundamental right to education up to any level, including the professional education like medicine and engineering. Let's discuss the Right to Education Act of 2009, which was enacted to implement the constitutional provisions under Article 21A. So, this act provides for free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years, and the central government affixed 1st April 2010 as the date of enforcement of the act. So basically this act provides for children in the age group of 6 to 14 the legal entitlement for free and compulsory education and provides a framework for universalization of elementary education. So let's discuss the salient features or the provisions of the act. So firstly, it provides for the right of children to free and compulsory education till completion of elementary education in a neighborhood school. Further, it clarifies that compulsory education means obligation of the appropriate government to provide free elementary education and ensures that compulsory admission, attendance and completion of elementary education to every child in the 6 to 14 age group. So, free means that no child shall be liable to pay any kind of fees or charges or expenses which may prevent him or her from pursuing and completing the elementary education. It makes provisions for a non-admitted child to be admitted to an age-appropriate class. It specifies the duties and responsibilities of appropriate governments, local authorities, parents, schools, and teachers in providing free and compulsory education. And most importantly, it specifies the sharing of financial and other responsibilities between the central and the state governments. Further, the Act lays down the norms and standards relating to the people teacher ratios and buildings and infrastructures, school working days, and teacher working hours. And by providing such norms on pupil teacher ratios, it ensures that the specified ratio is maintained for each school rather than just an average for the state or district or block, thus ensuring that there is no urban rural imbalance in teacher positions and the posting of the teachers. And this act also provides for the appointment of appropriately trained teachers that possess the required academic qualification. The act also prohibits physical punishment and mental harassment to students, screening procedures for admission of children, capitation of fees, private tuition by teachers, and running of school without recognition. And the act also make fines in regard of these positions. For example, if a school is running without recognition, then fine up to 1 lakh rupees, and in case of continuing contravention, rupees 10 lakh for each day during which the contravention continues is charged on the school by the government. The Right to Education Act also provides for development of a curriculum in consonance with the values that are enshrined in the Constitution of India, and which would ensure that all-round development of the children, building on the child's knowledge, potentiality, and talent, and making the child free of fear, trauma, and anxiety through a system of child-friendly and child-centered learning. And it provides for the establishment of a national advisory council and a state advisory council in each state to advise the respective government on implementation of the provisions of the act in an effective manner. And this act also provides for the establishment of a school management committee in all schools other than the unaided ones, and it should consist of the elected representatives of the local authority, parents or guardians of the children that are admitted in the school, and teachers. And this committee will be perform the following functions like monitoring the working of the school, preparing and recommending school development plans, and then monitor the utilization of the grants that is received by the school from the government or the local authority or any other sources, and any other prescribed functions. The Right to Education Act of 2009 was amended by the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Amendment Act of 2012, which made the following changes in the Right to Education Act of 2009. So this amendment include children with disabilities under the Right to Education Act, and more specifically the amendment expanded the definition of child belonging to a disadvantaged group to include a child with disability. The amendment provided that a child with multiple disabilities or severe disability may have also the right to opt for home-based education. The amendment provide that school management committees in respect of minority education institutions shall function only in an advisory capacity, and the amendment declares that the provisions of the Right to Education Act shall not apply to madrasas, Vedic pathshalas, and educational institutions primarily imparting religious instruction. Discuss some of the achievements of the Right to Education Act. So the act has successfully managed to increase enrollment in the upper primary level, that is between class 6 to 8th. The stricter infrastructure norms resulted in improved school infrastructure, especially in the rural areas. And more than 3.3 million students secured admission under 25% quota norm under Right to Education Act. And it made education inclusive and accessible nationwide. And the removal of no detention policy has brought accountability in the elementary education system. Further, the government has also launched an integrated scheme for school education named as Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, which subsumes the three schemes of school education, that is Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and centrally sponsored scheme on teachers' education.